see if they can. Rogue will be on the blue side. We're playing on patch 11.14. Of course, we didn't see too much dramatic shakeups in the previous game. Straight out the gate, Ziggs as well as Gwen banned alongside the Kalista. So Viego still up, a very popular Thresh. Another very impactful champion that we've seen many, many times. And this Ziggs ban, interesting because we've seen Hunt Summer running that as well.
It's interesting that Rogue would ban the Gwen themselves. And the Ziggs, as you mentioned, because, well, Ziggs is something that they've already shown that they're willing to play. On top of that, Gwen is just really OP. So why would you not want to force your opposition to ban it? It says to me that Rogue have a different priority in mind. The question is what that is. Viego, perhaps, is something that they think is the most broken, perhaps. I don't know.
Open, still available to them. Third ban was that Jin Zhao from Rogue. SHALKE taking their time to figure out what they want to remove from the pool here. And for Rogue, of course, they've had such a fantastic string of games. Will be the LeBlanc taken out. So Lucian still up and available as well. Which was taken away. I mean, what do Rogue go for? Because there's a number of powerful picks still available to them.
Viego is my... Oh, okay, well, Viego is going to be my guess, and he's going to lock that one in. So now I'm thinking of responses. With Kalista gone, Aphelios could be a high priority here. It's interesting because with the changes, things like Akali has clearly fallen out of favor. At least based on my one-game sample size,
Correct.
I can now say
one and a half games, right? Because we're halfway through this drop. Hey, Lilia, first pick. Okay, so 11-14, the category was
open.
Adjusted, and Lilia effectively lower base, ramps with AP, and we'll need to see. We'll be able to recoup the losses once AP is picked up. I think that was the wording that I saw. Neon's going to lock in the Varus instead.
So, I'm sorry, the Lucian is the big thing that was left up and available. So what they've done here is they're going to lose it. So I was going to say, when you lock in an AP jungler this early, to me that immediately suggests that you're looking at an AD mid laner like the Lucian. And while I don't think it is the strongest combo, I think that what you can do is that because Lucian typically gets so much prio in lane and Lilia is such a great counter jungler, they can work very well together. But
not happening.
What they're going to do.
Not happening. Nuclear has got 2 games played on Lucian historically, both of which were wins. It's going to land over in Lawson's hand. Was that an insta-lock? Irelia? What is going on?
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm really kind of... Well, the Aphelios lock-in into the Irelia. Wow. Okay, so let's start with Rogue's first half. So what do Rogue have? Well, they have strong side laners in the form of Lucian and Viego that I think can be beaten by an Irelia in the 1v1 in a side lane. So perhaps that's not their strongest suit. Team fighting, however, still pretty strong, especially when you think of double AD carries. Very AD heavy right now, so they're going to need a big AP champion to round out their draft, that's for sure. But I will say that Rogue, at the very least, are working towards options where they can get prio, something that they like to do. Shakra has made a great video on Rogue about the early game and how they often approach it and how they like to have dominance in the early laning phase, but I don't think Viego gets it against Irelia. Perhaps with the Irelia changes, that is a little bit different. I haven't really seen much of the new Irelia on this patch. And same for what is paired with the Aphelios.
Well, we'll find out because the Thresh is banned, the Nautilus is banned. I'm interested to see if Tamekench shows up or not, but you talked about one of the big AP threats. Odoamne has lost access to that cannon. Another support that Trimby could run is denied. Alistair's still open and available. And of course, Inspired has run both of Viego's that Rogue have run this summer.
The cannon ban's so good from SHALKE because it actually forces the Viego into going top. I completely forgot that it can go in the jungle, and then the AP option would have come out in the top lane. I just assumed Odoamne was playing it, mainly because Inspired plays a lot of AP junglers. Diana is still up and available. He's also played Fiddlesticks. This Rogue banned Diana.
What is going on?
Well, now they have to pick Fiddlesticks, right?
Why would you ban Diana if Lilia's on the other side?
They're potentially worried about it being in mids? I don't know. I'm not entirely sure on the Diana one. I'm just going to have to hold my hands up and say I do not know why they banned it.
Many questions to be answered. And of course, with the Braum, the Leona gone, sorry, the Nautilus gone, the Leona gone, options for Braum and Alistair are the champions that I was looking at for the support pool.
Yes, and Braum I think is a really good pick here, unless they think that Tom Kench is the new OP. I haven't seen a huge amount of it in support as of yet. So I think the teams are still experimenting with how good the champion actually is. But I think against what is... Okay, so Irelia, lots of great damage, kind of wants to dive into your face. Braum and Aphelios is just a really good combo against Irelia specifically. Like, if I'm Irelia, I'm already miserable. Aside from the fact that I'm now also playing against double AD carry, the Braum has really just made my life even more miserable. The Varus has really good range, but yeah, I think that this Irelia is not going to have a good time.
I mean, it's not, but it is Broken Blades. Irelia, he's played 16 games on the champion, 75% win ratio. Of course, jungle AP. This is what we were looking for. Is the Gragas option going to be locked in? A last second swap. So for the third time, we will see Inspired running Fiddlesticks in the jungle. 1 win, 1 loss. And now what do you run into this composition to round out in the mid lane into Lucian as well?
Well, I think you have decent disengage. I want damage. That's what I want. More damage. I don't know if melee damage is what I would. Jace I like a little bit more. Yeah, I like Jace a lot more. I think that the poke pairs well with the Varus. I think that into Lucian, it's fine as well. You have the AD, AP, mid-jungle split. I kind of just prefer Rogue's comp. I think that it just... Against what Schalke is trying to do, the Irelia pick I'm really not a fan of. If you can get it ahead in top lane, great. But against Fiddle, Braum, Aphelios, I just think the champion's not going to be able to have an impact. No matter how good Broken Blade is on it, I really struggle to see how it's going to 1v9. I think that the poke is very much what you want against a comp like Rogues, because I don't think they have the best of engage tools, very similar to what XL struggled with last game, where Fiddle is really your only engage, and maybe in Aphelios ultimate. So I like that they pivoted towards the Jace, and now they can rely on the Jace Varus combo. But yeah, we'll see how well they utilize this this poke, and if the Alistair can act as strong enough disengage to prevent the Fiddle from actually finding the fights and getting Rogue the team fights that they're looking.
And also, I'm gonna quote Venish from a little bit earlier. Definitively, Akali is dead, right? So it's 2 full drafts gone through, right? That is sarcasm. I am playing with that, but a very interesting, maybe unique draft, especially with the order of the bans that came in. That Diana phase 2, very intriguing to me. But we will see Inspired on that Fiddle. It's Rogue taking on Schalke. And Trimby already flanking Larson, shadowing his lane for the time being, stepping forward. Defensive start here from Schalke. For Rogue, 8-3. The score is mirrored by Schalke at 3-8. The bottom of the table. Trying to figure out who's going to be that 6th team to make their way up.
So, very quickly, let's talk about some of the champions, and then we can talk about some of the play styles that we get from these teams. We have talked about the Lilia. A bunch of changes came through. I mean, you said that they were like adjustments. They kind of look like buffs to me.
More scaling will always be, I think, intrinsically that way, right?
Yeah, but I don't think that her early game was really made that much weaker. I definitely think she gains a lot of value from levels, of course, so she will be a little bit weaker, but her base damage wasn't really hurt that much. So yeah, I think that the buff that Lilia has received makes sense as to why we're now seeing her a little bit. She can also offer great early game presence because of how quickly she clears the jungle. Her ganks aren't always the strongest. When she gets level 6, she offers a little bit more, but I think that one of the biggest things that she can offer is actually her ability to counter jungle. And I think against the Fiddlesticks, that's not always the easiest thing to do. It might seem that way, but Fiddlesticks is deceptively strong very early on into the game. But her kiting power may make her stronger than she actually appears to be. They're going to do a pretty standard early jungle path, not something that we always see from Lilia's, as she starts from the bot side and paths up towards top.
If there's one player that's going to know the tips and tricks, it is going to be Inspired. It is his most played champion. Yeah. It's 16 games. So Curate locking that in first rotation into Inspired on the Fiddle. We need to see how it plays out as they're starting to make their way down. And very good job here by the observers to highlight Hansama, because he's been one of the players we've talked a lot about over the past few weeks.
Yeah, he certainly is. But before we talk about Inspired, I want to talk a little bit more about this Irelia first, mainly because it is a champion that was insta-locked. And I think that in the terms of the composition, I understand why he picked it into Viego, probably because he thinks that it's a very good matchup into Viego, and I also understand why. At level 2, Irelia actually has a huge amount of lane prowess, but she too had some changes on this patch. She now only has 4 passive stacks instead of 5. Her E has now been made to a set standard, but once she has a passive proc, this is when she's at her scariest. And if I'm Odoamne right now, this is around the time where I would be the most respectful and the most scared. And you can also see with the jungler hovering around the top side that the Irelia is someone that has to be feared. Level 3 now comes through. I'm just waiting for that engage to come. Odoamne, good use of the Shroud.
I'm on the edge of my seat
Here it
now.
is. Good dodge out. Nice.
Okay.
Connect. So well played there by Odoamne, showcasing the respect that you have to do. So many people I've seen fall to the trap of level 2, level 3 Irelia. A fully stacked passive against an Irelia is just really terrifying to deal with. So I think that it will struggle as the game progresses. I think it's really important that they get the Irelia ahead, and I want to see Schalke invest a lot of resources, play towards the Irelia, and make sure that she is actually getting the resources that she needs to be very strong.
Well, right now, Hero was making his way for the scuttle, was picked up there by Inspired. The wave is crashing into Odo, and it looked like Broken Blade was starting to TP. So Larson already backed, made his way into the mid lane. Got those refillables, got those biscuits, and pushing forward into nuclear ends.
Now, what's crazy about what Inspired did is he's obviously done a full early game jungle clear, but off the back of that, he's also going to get 2 plates as Neon is forced to use the cleanse, as Trimby gets a good punish off against him, as Limit is a little bit split. But while this all happens, how Rogue typically play is Inspired usually invests a lot of resources towards the bot side of the map. In recent weeks, that hasn't quite been the case. As you look in the early games, weeks 1 to 3, we saw a huge amount of jungle proximity. That's the amount of time junglers spend in the bot lane for Hans Sama. This is quite a lot. And right now, it looks like, I don't think Kira is going to get a successful gank off here, so I'm going to keep talking about this. But what happened was in weeks 4 to 5, the meta kind of shifted. We talked about that Ziggs, while we were starting to see a little bit more about that from Hans. And also, they were struggling in their 2 versus 2, which means that Inspired actually changed his approach, and Odoamne received a lot more of the jungle attention, which was very uncharacteristic for him. You can see that his kill participation in the early game shot up dramatically. He was involved in way more kills and assists in the early game. His gold difference actually went down. So we thought that was really funny, because when I reached out to him about it, I was like, what happened? Well, the meta kind of shifted, and now my jungler keeps coming top, and you might think that good, but what he said was, I got autofilled to jungle pressure recipient. I don't like it either, don't worry.
This, by the way, is a direct
This is a quote from Odoamne.
And it's also, it just does highlight a little bit the mentality of the approach, and obviously it's a bit of a joke, but also the strengths that Odo has had for such a long time. The weak side king was a phrase that you coined a little while ago, and continues to show through with impressive stats, but also when you do invest resources into him, he is somebody to be feared against the Irelia. For his first time on Viego this summer, Akira is going to once again at least show face, but no real opportunities just yet.
But yeah, we thought it was really funny that his goal difference actually went down, and the fact that he's getting so much more jungle attention, and he's like, well, this is actually hurting my early game more so than helping it. I think it just goes to show how talented of an individual Odoamne is, and how well he does without the resources. But I think he's going to get some resources this game, because I think Rogue want to shut down this Irelia from the get-go. Inspired is going to hit level 6. He will be spotted out by a ward, but at the very least they are covering Odoamne so that he can push this wave underneath the tower, and it looks like that he is continuing to be the jungle pressure recipient in the early game.
No doubt about it, but not only jungle pressure. How about support? How about mid lane? This is a 4-on-2. No teleport for Nuclear Imp. That'll be a decent stun, and there comes the core. First blood to Inspired. Kira's going to try dash away to save Odo. Will secure the kill. 2 easy kills for Rogue.
And they're doing exactly what we wanted to see from them in the early game. Puts the Irelia behind. Leave Hans Sama to just farm off on a side lane. Just make sure that he's getting whatever he needs to make sure that he's relevant later on to the game. But just shut down this Irelia. It's already going to be difficult for her to play. But just make it even harder and prevent her from being involved in the early game whatsoever.
It's nearly a 2,000 gold lead. And honestly, I thought it was a very well-executed dive.
It certainly was. Larson with the great roam used his pressure in mid. Trimby had already roamed up well in advance towards the top side of the map. And then Odoamne with the reset gets himself a nice kill. So very well played from the Rogue 4-man as they get themselves a 2k gold lead early on.
Unbelievable. I mean, despite the fact that Broken Blade had the flawless duet, it was a flawless double for Rogue. Look at that gold lead already after what was very, very well played. And honestly, that was kind of the scary thing we talked about, or you talked a lot about, Vedius. It's how really in the laning phase is somebody to be feared and challenged. Inspired already got those boots upgraded. Got Predator available to him, and Kira Seems to fish a little bit.
Good ward there. I like that. Yeah, because it's just outside of the range of the control, but it will also give you information in the event that a Blast Calhoun comes over. So while SHALKE will gain vision control over the bot side, Rogue can still respect it. Larson gonna emote as he disengages from that little fight there in the mid lane.
Well, there's being a little bit of an advantage here to Nuclear Int in terms of the HP pool, but SHALKE got to be very, very cautious. I'm going to keep looking at my minimap for Inspired as Trimby's going to step forward. Flash lane still available for Neon. Yeah, piercing around, looking to use Moonlight Vigil, comes down instead, 100 HP, one lost shot, not enough. The Chakram flash away from the Winter's Bite, and it will be Limit taking down Trimby. Now Hansama making his way out. Nuclear Int, does he put the hammer down? Not this time around. And it was a bit of a comedic death there by Trimby.
Yeah, I understand why he flashed, and he did end up trading his flash and his life for the remaining summoner spells of Neon. Hansama got a little unlucky there. I liked how he was very patient with his ultimate. Limit now looking for a flank behind, though.
There's some damage coming out. The minions are going to help block this. The accelerated shock blast caught out, and all of a sudden,
hang on.
Limit's the one that gets stunned up by the concussive blows. Red, white, defensive flash from Hansama, 200 HP. Hammer backwards. Hansama survives. Not going to be enough from Nuclear Int, and now Limit continues to run for his life.
Is he not dead? I feel like he's dead.
Yeah, till the rest of the minions, most of the members of Rogue make their way up. Hansama is donated the kill. So now SHALKE, they reply with the overdive of their own.
I can already hear Dracos shrieking with excitement. For those that don't know, he loves this champion, and he loves talking about gun weapon management. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that right now. Because notice how Hansama is going to land the Q first, and then he's going to hold it. Because he knows that Neon wants to use the cleanse the moment that that comes through. But Hansama wants to make sure that he can get the passive applied from the long-range gun to do as much damage as possible. At this point, though, he uses all the ammo from the green gun. You're going to notice he's going to fire out the Q, and now he's going to get an opportunity to change weapons. He just needs to make sure that he cleanses out of the way here from the stun and the ignite. And then, look, change of weapons, and now he's got the red plus white gun. This was changed ever so slightly so that it wasn't strong as it used to be, but the thing is about it, Braum plus that combo insta-passive proc. Like, you saw how quickly Nuclear Int got stunned. It meant that Hansama was able to play around that. So really good gun management there from Hansama. A lot of people are just going to say 200 years, but this champion does require good mechanic and awareness, and I think that he did a good job there.
Kudos on spotting that one. I was so focused on when Limit was going to engage and whether or not Nuclear Int could make his way in. The intentional use of ammo on that Q into the bush, not only for some information, but like you said, setting up that counter. The gold lead's climbed nearly 3,000 at 10 minutes into the game. And it's looking a little scary. Inspired.
Oh, no.
Crowstorm is available. Can hop over the wall. Nuclear Int has no flash, remember. Get terrified, get dunked. Trimby gets the support as well, secures some turret plates. That's the 5th kill. Now Odo in some trouble from Vanguard's edge, uses the Heartbreaker to safety, recognizing the risk. But the Rift Herald has already been picked up, and this is a pretty strong opening here, Mr. Day.
It just feels so rough for
really
Nuclear Int.
does.
Like, this is just how you punish a flashless mid laner. Inspired said, hey, this guy has no summoner spells. He thinks that he's safe in mid lane, but he's not. And props to Trimby. This man is just roaming all over the map. He has had quite the career arc. First split, last split, replacing Vander that many were surprised to now growing alongside Hansama, being very dominant in the 2 versus 2 early on this split, and now shifting with the Stars, and now looking for a pick onto Limit.
Well, there's going to Chain of Corruption fired out. Hansama putting damage onto Limit as the Unbreakable is keeping himself alive for now. Inspired chunked down. He's forced to run for his life. Now Trimby's the next target. Dashes forward, then knocked back once again, and Trimby will be gifted over to SHALKE for the cost of a couple teleports.
Okay, so Nuclear Int and Broken Blade both invested their teleports to help their bot lane out and get themselves a couple kills back on the board, but that means more farm was lost in the mid lane for Nuclear Int. You can see a big wave was lost. The TP flank now coming in from Larson.
He's got himself the Gale Force picked up already. Broken Blade's not going to be able to find the flawless duet, and Larson literally just ducks and dives through everything SHALKE throw it in.
And again, great use of the guns there from Hansama. He applied the Q, which then also applies the Gravitum to then lock Broken Blade in place. And then Larson, it was just child's play. It was so easy for him to do. And look, Trimby now on the roam once again.
Running for his life, Nuclear Int is going to get shucked down by the culling. Limit has Hex Flash available to him. Trimby's not going to find the Winter's Bite. The re-engage from Nuclear Int, and the headbutt actually saves Larson's life. I wasn't sure if that was the hammer or the headbutt, but Nuclear escapes for now. And it's just looking like Child's Play, that gold lead, extending even further. But I will draw us back to a brief story we talked about. Odoamne's been left alone for a long period of time.
Well,
he'll be relatively happy for the time being.
I mean, that is true. But he did also get the gank that literally is put them in this position in the first place. So I will still say he is sitting in a very comfortable spot right now. The bot lane has been swapped from Schalke.
I mean, Divine Sundra's picked up already. Gale Force picked up already. Inspired's Crowstorm is available. Kirei and Broken Blade instantly start to peace out. Do not be anywhere near the potential engage.
Hun Summit is a higher level than Nuclear. Okay, he just got level 9, but Hun Summit is a higher level. I wonder if we can get the little XP thing that we often get on the left production, if we could look at that, because Han Summer often, this isn't actually that rare. Han Summer would often get left alone to single farm things like turret plates and experience, but I don't think we've ever really seen Trimmy, at least last split, have the same map impact that he is having this split. A huge increase in his impact and growth over this year. And again, like, it just comes back to it. European rookies, man. We have so much talent in our league. We are looking at the gold on our left right now, and you can see that 4 of the 5 top are currently in the Rogue camp.
Yeah, absolutely. The second tower is going to fall here in favor of Rogue. They're going to extend that even further. And this composition, not only did you like what you were seeing from draft, now I think it's fair to say we like how Rogue are executing in-game, punishing and forcing errors as well. You know, everything that Schalke have tried to do felt like Rogue has had an answer, but also Rogue have forced Schalke, much like this dive that's coming up. Glacial Fissure comes out. It was a little opportunistic maybe, as now Larson and Trimby back away.
Trimby did miss his Q. If he landed it, I think there was room for a play there. Odoamne now on the hunt against Neon. We'll find him.
The level advantage, as well as that Divine Sundra into really nothing. Heartbreaker comes out, Neon flashes to safety, but here comes Kirei. Manages to put Odo to sleep, and Kirei gets the kill.
Well, Odoamne, see what happens when your jungler's not there?
You need the help. You need the babysitting.
You need the help, man. You need the help. Work on your lane in Odoamne. That's just a joke, guys. Just a joke. Gotta clarify. Odoamne got a little greedy there. He flashed for a kill that he couldn't get, and he did it anyway. Ends up getting punished as a result. But I think that Rogue is still sitting in a comfortable position. They have 6,000 gold advantage. They have the first Drake. They use the first Herald to secure the first tower. They also have 2 towers in their back pocket. And I feel like that already it's kind of at a point where you're waiting to see how quickly Rogue can close out the game, if I'm being really honest.
I think so too. I also think today's game, obviously against Schalke tomorrow, against Astralis, and the next week you look at Fnatic and Mad Lions. For Rogue, when you look at the rest of summer, we started this draft by talking about how Rogue want to confirm, solidify, cement themselves as the #1 team in the regular season. Looking ahead to obviously the next 4 games, it's going to be a very good way to secure that, get as many championship points as possible so you can increase your chances for seeding going into playoffs.
I'm really excited about that Rogue Fnatic matchup next week in particular, because listening to Upset on the podcast talk about how of the 3 teams to make it to Worlds, he didn't put Rogue in there. And he talked about how he felt that they had Rogue's number, and that in the bot lane, this was not a duo that he was particularly scared about. And admit, he was very respectful. And again, I would encourage people to watch the episode because it was a really good and funny one. But yeah, I think Hans Summer's going to take that personally. Sure. And I think that he's the type of player that, for me, he's been one of the MVP candidates of this split. I think that his impact in the first half was really felt. Obviously, the team heavily played through him, and so he's going to be made to look a little bit stronger, and he does play very lane-dominant champions. Let's see how things progress as Odoamne now gets collapsed on.
It does indeed. This will be yet another death for Odo. The rest of the team making their way through the mid lane. I mean, it's such a gigantic advantage that even the 2 picks that Schalke have been able to secure, they are still so far behind. It is Mythics for everyone except Trimby on Rogue, and only 2 for the time being on Schalke. And now, there's a setup here. Gravitum is available. Moonlight Vigil can lock down Neon and Limit if wanted. Larson's going to be able to pick up the kill. There will be some reply back here from Schalke as Broken Blade's going to look for something, but the Chronostorm prevents the engage. Now the chase forward as Inspired manages to leap over the wall, get himself yet another. That's the 8th kill in favor of Rogue, and they are everywhere
observers, if we get a replay, could you please show us what Inspired saw? Because I don't think he actually had vision on Broken Blade when he made that ult, but there must have been some way in which he read the play and could see what Broken Blade was up to. But I'm really curious as to how he did that, because that was such a good ult from Inspired to catch Broken Blade out of position and Rogue get themselves even more kills.
They pull their gold lead even further. Deathless for Inspired, as well as Larson and Hansama.
So this is where things start off. We're having a look at Rogue's vision initially, and we're going to have a look back. So the ping comes through. Right now, I don't think he sees Broken Blade, but where's he going to spot him out? Oh, so he does have...
We're on Rogue vision there, so he's just watching him walk past.
He is just watching him walk past there. Yeah. Oh, of course, that ward is just sitting in that brush right there. So he did watch him walk past. I thought it was super big brain from Inspired, but in fact, it was actually just very obvious. So he was able to get himself an easy pick. And they walk away with more kills. Now they're looking for another fight in the top lane.
They are indeed. Limits level 8 versus 11, 12, 11. Before you even add in all the items, the second Rift Herald is summoned. It's pushed onto the inner turret. This is the 4th of the game. While that's going on, Broken Blade is trying to push the bottom lane. Rogue will pick themselves up another tower in the middle lane. Vedis, you asked a question earlier, how quick will Rogue finish? Well, they're trying to set a record. 18 minutes, they're already knocking on the inhibitor turrets.
Yep, 8K is the gold lead. Rogue is absolutely dominating their opposition in this match. An impressive way to do it. I love watching Inspired's Fiddlesticks. Very clean game from him so far, but in all the right places at the right time. He has more farm than Odoamne does.
Vedi. Okay, tell me, do you know what the quickest win time in summer is?
Is it 22 minutes, 39 seconds?
Oh, so close. 22 minutes, 56 seconds.
I was 17 seconds off.
So 22.50. Let's call it 22.50. That's the benchmark here. I know I'm a little optimistic because Rogue, not always the team that will pull, I'm going to call it the misfits, you know, the push into the base. That's a bit over-eager, maybe not well-timed. But when you see how many tower dives that Inspired has had with that Crow Storm, I feel like this will be the time that Rogue want to push forward. And right now, Schalke... Are
you going to make a medic Crow Storm call?
I don't think I can. I don't think I can. When something like that happens that's so pure and magical, I know I won't live up to the expectations, right?
Okay.
I did a free
But you could do your own version. That's what I'm saying, Trev. This is your opportunity. You could go like, caw, you know, your own metal version of it, maybe.
Okay, I'll try a metal version of it. If we can see it happens.
Oh, wow, you're just bought in. All right,
yeah,
I respect that.
Listen, this is a yes and space, all right? I'm going to back you up. But I mean, Schalke, they tried to play the map game. They got themselves a couple towers. But ultimately, it's just more space for Rogue to work with. 20 seconds to Baron. They've got a bunch of wards set up, pinging inside the base of Schalke. Do you fancy they just make a play straight for Baron?
I think they could consider it. The problem is if they do just flip a Baron, they also could just lose. So they do require some setup. So I would be... I should say that I expect them to do the proper steps. You know, get mid, push out sides, clear out vision. They don't have much control in their half of the jungle right now, so the risk of a TP flank is real. But as we're seeing right now, pushing through mid, move into river, then use your control over the river to set up some initial vision around the Drake. Look for a pick, get a pick, ideally the enemy jungler, and then you convert that into the Baron, which they can start right now if they want to. Yep, that is Hansama getting a kill. On to Kire.
Damn it! Inspired denied me the core metal version. 22.56, Vedi. 22.56. That is the chase. Now, do they push straight in? Well, the wave's looking like. Down in the bottom lane, Broken Blade is pushing. There is a wave that's trying to be caught by Larson. And we have a 20-minute, 45-second Baron already. Broken Blade has teleport available to him. And now Rogue are backing away. Okay, the Dream, I think, is dead. I don't think we'll be able to pick this one up. As we're going to shop and catch this bottom lane instead.
Yep. Schalke, they are doing pretty well on the side lanes. They do have 3 towers themselves. Unfortunately, they're still, 9,500 gold down. Just a minor inconvenience.
The way that sentence started and ended, your tone of voice didn't quite match it.
So have a look at this. Again, green gun. Oh, it was the ult. Okay, so the ult went through, and then it's not the green gun that you have to be careful of. It's the white shurikens.
The chakrams chunking down Schalke. While that was going on, by the way, a huge amount of damage onto Neo, and he was forced to flash. Larson was chasing for the kill, wasn't able to pick it up. 2 minutes to Dragon. We're a minute and 20 away from the record. And I mean, let's spare a thought here for Schalke. 3 and 8 in the standings right now. They just saw Exile losing near them. There's only 1 win above. But for Schalke, it has been a struggling summer.
Yep.
And unfortunately, coming up against the #1 team in Europe right now, you can see why the difference is the way it is.
Yeah, it certainly is. Bit of a shame. Schalke, they're losing Abadage, changing out Kire. I think that the team hasn't quite been able to find form. I think that they have shown some good things, but right now their base is being sieged on and people are dying.
Not mental at all. Lawson with the help of Inspired. Pick up 1, 2, 3 kills. Whoa, 22-56. 22-56. We might be on the cards.
22-56.
Nuclear's going to force Flash to safety. Odawana trying to chase him down. Gets caught inside the Vanguard's edge. Not dead just yet. Inhibitor number 2 will be focused. 1 and 2, correction. 22-30. The Nexus
25 seconds.
Going to be the next one to focus. Broken Blade flashes for his life. Lawson takes him down. Trippy misses another Winter's Bites as the hammer comes out from Nuclear Ends. Rogue are pushing for the kill, and they won't get the fastest win. Nexus turret is now being focused. There's no ways they do this in
10
time.
seconds.
10 seconds out. They turn their attention to the second Nexus turret. Limit will prevent the record for now.
5
6
seconds.
4 seconds. Rogue destroy Schalke, but they do not destroy the win time. 23 minutes has crossed, and Rogue obliterate Schalke.
That was the funniest caw I've ever heard.
I made an executive decision that I wasn't going to have a powerful voice, so I went comedic. You know, we were building up.
I loved it. I loved it, Quick Shot. That was great.
I truly wish I had a deeper voice, but you got to lean into the strength, you know?
Oh, well, anyway, very one-sided game from Rogue from start to finish. I like their draft. I like the way in which they played it out, and just a very clean game from the squad. Well executed. And huge props to Inspired. I think that his early game impact was massive. Him alongside Trimby were very